Okay, this video is going to be dealing with how to make a silicone wheel. So what we have in front of you are all the different parts. I've gone ahead and made an assembly, and I'm basically analyzing it. So if we were just to strip away and just go to the wheel, this is what the wheel is going to look like. It's going to have this pattern that is caused by the hub. The hub is going to be probably one of the most difficult things to draw. This axle hole is going to be kind of difficult, and you're going to have to print it a few times to get it right. The axle itself, when you measure it, is from this face here, this flat edge to this bottom flat edge is 2.66 millimeters between those two surfaces. And then when you're drawing that, so if I was going to draw the hub, I would click New Design, I would grab the part, and I would pick a face. So the tool you're going to use is the polygon, and it's the circumscribed, which means if you were to zoom in, you can sort of see it's off of the flat part, not off of the point of the lines. So once you choose that, then you have to realize that you're using a diameter. So if you type in the actual measurement between those two faces, which is 2.66, you'll actually have double what you need. So if you take the dimension tool and measure it, you're going to get double what you wanted. Mine's a bit of an angle, so that's why it's not showing up. So you'd actually have to take that and divide it by 2. It doesn't work well with units, so you gotta delete those, and so then that would be more accurate. So now you're in with the problem of, well, what about the printer? So if you want the hole to be something that the axle passes through, then you would go up to 1.5. For my particular printer, I'm printing it on bamboo. In my classroom, I have Prusas, so that they have an internal diameter that's different. When I want it to be a press fit, I bring it down to 1.4 millimeters, and that seems to work better. And then what you probably should do is, I probably should edit that, is make a circle around it. I think I went with about 10 mils, and then what you would do is you would print a bunch of them. So if I hit E for extrude, and I'm going to go up at least 10 millimeters, and the reason for that is it's a very small print and it takes very few minutes, but you want to not have the bottom, because on a 3D printer it kind of squishes the bottom, and so we want this hole to be the one that we're actually testing. Now it's so small that when you print it, it tends to be more circular than hexagon, but that's something that you're going to have to test. So when I was doing this, if I can just find it, I started with a circle shape, and I played around with this until I got it to something that was working, and so that's where I got the 1.4 millimeters for the halfway distance. And then after that, I printed it out a bunch of times, and then I came up with the inside axle hole. And then as far as the other rest of it, I'll just show you on a new part how to do that part. So you start with the sketch, probably grab the one, you go to the polygon, you click the center. Now what I did before is I didn't get it correct on the other plane, so the value was 1.4, and then we'll zoom in, and this one will be better because I actually squared it up with the field. So if I was to measure that distance, I could measure it from top to bottom, and I would get double, and that's what we want. And then the only thing you have to do else is, I'll double click on that again, is put a circle around it. So I think I went 25 millimeters. So it could be better if you went more. And then I think that I made it somewhere in the neighborhood of 25. I think it was actually just 23 or 22 millimeters. And then how do you make it so that the silicone isn't going to spin? So that's where you have to put in the little grooves. And the way I did that is I drew a drawing on the face and I put circles on the perimeter. And I think they were 5 mils. I don't know if that would work the best. And then I just push that through using extrude and cut that shape. And then I went to circular pattern. And I chose feature, which is this. And I chose the axle. If you click on the circle on the outside, I give it, and then I went up to 10. And that's how you get that shape. Now the other part is that will stop the silicone from rotating on the hub, but we want some shape so that it doesn't come off the hub. So the way that I solved that, or hopefully solved that, is I'm drawing a sketch on one of these planes. Now you might have to turn your body off to grab the plane and then turn your body back on. And so I want a circle somewhere in the middle of this. So I could go and I could project if I wanted this. So you've got project a sketch or a body. You could do the whole body if you want. And then you can grab your circle. So I want it on the midpoint. So that blue triangle that shows up is the midpoint. But I want it to be off of that. So I went, I don't know, I just eyeballed it. And then I want an arc. So let's go with 12. And then when I finish it, I just want to revolve it around the axle. So I want to select the profile to revolve, which I can choose both of them. And then I want to choose the pivot point, which is that green line. And then I'm going to cut. And so that's how you come up with the shape. So this narrowing, when you print it, or sorry, when you're casting the silicone, or actually when you're printing the hub, you're going to be able to print it because it's easy to do this curve. And then the silicone will mold around that and it won't come off. At least that's the theory. So the outside shape, if you click on it, that's only 54 on the inside, and on the outside it was 60, so that gives you 3 millimeters on that. We did the hub, we did the outside. The bottom part, this circle was supposed to be slightly smaller than the inside measurement of this last piece. So if this measurement is 54, then this measurement might be smaller. So I made it 53.95, and that was actually too small. And then as the whole assembly, you have this part. So the intention is that you take the axle, you push it into the hub as far as you want it. You take the bottom of the mold, you put some Vaseline around it, and then you put the outside of the mold on it, and then you pour your silicone, and it takes the shape of the inside of the mold and hopefully doesn't leak out through any of the cracks. So that's how I'm recommending that you make the wheels for this competition. Anyways, good luck, have fun with it.